In this final lesson, we bring everything together. How to use AI in diabetes care in a way that is clinically responsible, legally sound, and organizationally realistic. The core message is simple. When an AI tool suggests something, responsibility does not move to the algorithm. It remains with the human, the clinical team, and the organization. That means you should never judge AI only by how intelligent it sounds. You judge it by safety, by fit for your patient population, by privacy, by transparency, and by whether your hospital can implement it properly. Good implementation is not an afterthought, it is a condition for safe use. 1. Use the ethics checklist as your first filter. When an AI tool gives an unexpected insulin recommendation, risk score, or screening output, you need a quick clinical framework. The ethics checklist is useful for that purpose. Equity and fairness. For which patients does the tool work well, and for which patients might it work less well? Transparency and patient-centered care. Can you explain in plain language what the tool does and why the output should be trusted? Human oversight and clinical integrity. Can a healthcare professional meaningfully review, correct, and override the output? Information privacy and data governance. Where does the data go? Who has access, and on what legal basis is processing taking place? Continuous improvement and sustainability. Is there a plan for re-evaluation, update management, and performance monitoring? Support and education. Are clinicians, educators, and users trained in safe use and in the limitations of the tool? 2. Think actively about bias, privacy, and regulation. AI can widen inequality if training data are too narrow or if, in real-world use, the tool mainly works for digitally confident patients. That is why you should always ask who may be left behind. Privacy remains a hard boundary. Do not use identifiable patient data in open consumer models without an appropriate agreement, clear legal basis, and local approval. Audio recordings, transcripts, screenshots, and consultation notes are particularly sensitive. Regulation should not be treated as an afterthought either. With clinical AI, you need to know the intended use, how the tool was validated, how updates are managed, how post-market follow-up is organized, and who is accountable if something goes wrong. 3. If your hospital wants to implement an AI tool, do this. Do not start with the demo. Start with the conditions for safe use. First, ask for the right documents. What is the exact intended use? In which population was the tool tested? Which performance data were reported? What are the known limitations? How does logging work? How are updates managed? And what is the privacy and data processing framework? Next, involve the right people. Not only enthusiastic physicians, but also diabetes educators, nurses, IT, the privacy lead or DPO, legal, procurement, and if possible, a patient representative. Then start with a small, clearly defined pilot in one clinical use case with pre-specified evaluation points such as safety, error patterns, time saved, usability, and workflow impact. Finally, define explicitly who reviews the output, when AI is advisory only, when a clinician must confirm it, how incidents are reported, and when the implementation should be paused, stopped, or revised. That is not bureaucracy added next to AI. That is what safe AI implementation is. 4. Non-delegable clinical responsibility. Even with strong or highly automated systems, some responsibilities cannot be delegated. Settings, interpretation of unexpected outputs, communication with patients, and follow-up of incidents remain human responsibilities. A useful phrase for practice is this: we use AI as a smart assistant and a second opinion, not as a first authority. This mindset keeps you and your patient in the driver's seat even as systems become more capable.